trans movement. Well, the front page of today's Herald Sun said it all. Vic bitter. Federal Labor is going to axe $900 million of key state road and rail projects in the budget. This is a worrying development, particularly given the perilous financial position Victoria is in. We have the highest debt of any state or territory. Joining me now to discuss this is Shadow Social Services Minister Michael Sukkar. Michael, thank you so much for your time this evening. Let's start first, Rita, though, with the shocking news broken on Sky News. That energy costs are going to skyrocket further, and we're looking at up to 50% increase next year. This is going to be sending people into energy poverty.
Well, Rita, I mean, the Labor Party promised 97 times before the election that they would reduce energy prices by $275 a year. Now we see that prices will be exponentially higher. The cost of living crisis that we're seeing is getting worse by the day and has just got worse and worse since this government's been elected. They don't have a plan. They are trying to jam more and more expensive renewables into the system, and we're going to pay the price for that. That's the reality. You know, average Australians will be the ones who suffer. But it's not just energy, it's what you're paying at the pump. Obviously, with Labor not extending the excise reduction that we put in place. Mortgages are increasing month by month. So the pressure's being felt by your average Australian. Just 6 months after the election is really something that the Labor Party needs to address in their budget tomorrow night, although I can't see them doing that.
It's not going to help prices come down next year, but perhaps if the coalition had a different policy to net zero, at least people would have a choice at the polling booth. But we'll have that discussion another day. I want to discuss the budget. We're talking about $900 million of infrastructure projects across Melbourne that your government promised being axed by Labor. Are these economic decisions or political decisions?
Rita, they're purely political, and Labor is utterly shameless. They always ignore the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. They've always done that ever since they ripped up the contracts to build the East-West Link. Now you've got the Eastern Freeway, which is a car park. And now, surprise, surprise, the projects that they rip up are in Liberal-held seats or seats that the Labor Party don't hold. So, you know, $110 million for Wellington Road. That was a project that they actually committed to in the lead up to the 2019 election. So they're even cancelling projects that they once supported. $260 million for the Glenferrie Road rail removal. In peak hours, 30% of that hour, the boom gates are down. It's one of the busiest roads in Melbourne. So, look, they're shameless, they're political, and sadly, it's residents of Melbourne that pay the price.
And we've been paying a very heavy price in recent years. I don't think we can take much more, Michael. And I've got to ask you about the $2.2 billion funding that the Albanese government is committing to the suburban rail loop. This doesn't even have approval from Infrastructure Australia. Why are they going in so heavily with this project?
Because Daniel Andrews gets what he wants. At the end of the day, Anthony Albanese and Jim Chalmers do what Daniel Andrews wants, not the other way around. You're right, this is a project that's not been assessed by Infrastructure Australia. It's a project that at best is due for completion in 15 years, but would you ever believe any time frame or budget that the Labor Party puts in front of you? It's a white elephant that Victorians don't want. It's a white elephant that, quite frankly, the state opposition's done the right thing and said, we will redirect this money into our crumbling health system, people who can't get basic procedures done, not a vanity project for Daniel Andrews. So, unfortunately, the Labor Party here in Canberra dance to the tune of Daniel Andrews and not the other way around. So even though Infrastructure Australia has not assessed this project, they will cancel good projects like Wellington Road or Glenferrie Road and others in order to look after their mate Daniel Andrews.
Michael Sukkar, thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, we've heard